Hello, I'm HG Tudor, and welcome to the 100,000 subscriber interviews, a series of short interviews with people who have harnessed my work and seized the power. My next guest is ready, so let's find out about them. Hello, what's your name and where are you from?
Hi HG, I'm John from Dorset.
Hello John, thank you for joining me today. Let's get straight into the questions. How did you find my work?
Googling and YouTubing, which is probably how most people find, information online these days. So I'd grown a little bit suspicious over the years of my partner's behaviour.
Yeah.
So Googled what, for example, she would take anywhere between 50 and 100 photos of herself in the with the same background, and that's got to be a red flag. So I just thought, what is that? It was just one example. So I'd heard about narcissism, didn't understand it by any stretch, but I thought that sounds a little bit narcissistic, i.e. self-centered, which is all I knew about narcissism at the time.
Yes.
And after listening to a few channels, I discovered you, and it was very evident very quickly that your approach, it was far more authoritative, accurate, clear, well structured, and giving me the answers that I was looking for and made complete sense to my situation. So it just surpassed all others in breadth, depth, and quality. So I have just been listening to you ever since, really, just to sort of continue to learn.
Well, thank you for those compliments. They're appreciated. So it's the situation with your partner that alerted you to there being something wrong. And how was the situation with her affecting you?
Yeah, it was before I knew and understood what was behind it. I was very frustrated and disappointed in her, upset, because I couldn't make her see how she was essentially abdicating responsibility for my happiness. We've got 2 kids together. She didn't seem to care. And when I tried to have a two-way conversation, it was, what I now know, a threat to her control. And there's no way she was going to listen to me. She talked over me, tried to have a sensible, mature two-way conversation, which, again, I now know is an impossibility with a narcissist. At least the one I was with, lower mid-range.
Yeah.
So it felt like, for me, the relationship just couldn't move past a certain point. Now, I was never going to have a fulfilling relationship with her. And we've got 2 kids together.
Yeah.
So something had to change, something had to give. So it was thanks to your work that I've now realised that the situation, and I can see she's oblivious to her behaviours. She doesn't know, for example, the kids. They just sort of, when she tries to hug them, they instinctively must realise it's fake, because of the way she talks to them, behaves towards them. So then she tries to give them a hug, and then they sort of push her away. They're very sort of they're just not interested, which is a shame. So that's my ongoing challenge, how to deal with that.
Yes. Yep. And so which of my books have you accessed?
Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of reading, i.e. the traditional, sitting down, holding a book, because it's not that efficient use of time. You have to physically sit down, don't you? Look at the book, turn the pages. Whereas listening on YouTube is much preferred for me, because I can be, hands-free, whether I'm driving, getting lunch, absorbing it. Yeah, it's just more efficient use of time. So I don't tend to read the book. I did buy Red Flag.
Yes.
And again, that really sort of showed me that I'd missed what I'd missed, essentially. Before I learned about narcissism. And I knew the behaviours were wrong, but I just didn't understand.
Yes, so what it was. You recognise something wasn't right, but couldn't put your finger on what was behind it. I see. Yeah. And have you accessed the Knowledge Vault at all? And if you have, which products have you found most useful from there?
Yes, again, gravitating to the audio books. Child Defender, how to co-parent with a narcissist. HG Malls, The Somatic. 3 Assertions of Control, 5 Reasons the Narcissist Argues with You.
Yeah.
10 ways to threaten the narcissist control, 20 mistakes that empaths make, and I'm sure there's lots more. So yeah,
Sure. So
been all
quite.
over it. Been all over it. Tried to spend as much time as I could absorbing the content because, as other people have said, it's been an epiphany. It's been a life-changing event. This, to sort of the eyes are open now in terms of what I'm dealing with. So you just got to sort of try and learn as much as you can. Unfortunately, a bit late in life in my case.
Understood. Now, you and I had spoken on numerous occasions. What was it that prompted you to organise an audio consultation with me? Was there something specific that drove you to do that?
Yes, it was the kids. I'd already established through the narc detector, what she was, lower mid-range somatic, and I just wanted to understand from you how to deal with that. I'd already read, I'd already sort of heard Child Offender and the other kids-related materials, but it was a bit tricky because I don't live with them all the time. I split my time 50-50 UK. So I'm not always there. So it was just discussing how to handle the situation with the kids, which, again, money well spent.
Good. And how did you feel just before you spoke to me the first time?
Curious, excited to find the answers and ready to learn. Because, I'd realised that you held a lot of information to unlock the keys, if you like, to what I was dealing with.
Okay. And where are you now with regard to this situation with other of your children? Where is it up to now?
Yeah, so I've moved out. I have a little bit of leverage since the narcissist is financially dependent on me, so she can't just walk all over me. Although I'm sure she would like to. So she's being reasonable at the moment. She's allowing me to see the kids on a regular basis. She's a big user of the absent and present silent treatments.
Yes.
So I'm enjoying the silence. And I've tried to insist on her, as per your advice, emails rather than phoning me or even phone messages. And she is partially doing that. But then she'll call me out of the blue.
Yeah.
And it's a tricky one because, I can't go no contact in my particular circumstance, which we have discussed, and it's a bit of an unusual one. So yeah, I try to keep it on in terms of emails, but it doesn't always work.
Yeah, but you feel more equipped to deal with the situation now.
Oh, 100%. It's a completely different world I'm living in now compared with I didn't realize what was going on, and I probably wouldn't have moved out of the family home, of course, if it wasn't for your advice. I'd probably still be ensnared, scratching my head thinking what's going on. Kids would continue to be listening to the raging and the arguments which will damage them. So it really has changed the course of my life. So thank you.
You're most welcome. What part of my work's helped you the most, John, and why?
It's a tricky one, this, because it's so wide ranging, isn't it? Expansive. To put your finger on one thing. One thing I think, just looking back on it, is really page one for me would be to understand the narcissistic dynamic is you've got to go back to the foundations of what narcissism is. So I think going back to that first video, I think you call it "What is Narcissism?"
Yeah.
Page one, and then sort of moving out, going down the rabbit hole, I think, as they say in America, from there. So I would say that's the initial bit that really sort of opened my eyes, and from there I've just I've gone into this expansive world of the narcissist.
Okay. And what would you like to learn more about, John?
Myself, I've done the empath detector.
Yeah.
Standard with a majority super.
Yeah.
Don't really. Again, I'm sure there's lots of content there. I just haven't had time to. I focused on the narcissistic side rather than the empathic side at this stage. But I do want to spend more time on that. Yeah.
Okay. Well, there's plenty in the pipeline coming in relation to that, so you'll be well served. Yeah. What do you think of narcissists now?
With the knowledge I have, I've got to be sympathetic, a bit probably because of the empathic traits I've got. I've got to have some sympathy for them, because they don't have any more than any of us really have any control over how we're born and our upbringing. So in the same way, I couldn't decide how I was born, and no one else can. So I don't have any animosity towards them. It's an unfortunate, depending on your perspective, it's an unfortunate way that they were formed, and you've explained about the genetic predisposition and the lack of control environment, of which you and everyone else is out of control of when you're a child. So with the benefit of that knowledge, I can only have sympathy for them. And if I was an unaware narcissist, I don't know whether I'd want to be a normal or an empathic person, since what I don't know, I don't miss.
Indeed.
So it's I'm sort of on the fence on it. I don't want to be judgmental about it, because they really, all I would say is you just have to educate yourself on this, so that when you identify the toxic behaviors, you move away from them, and leave it at that, really.
Okay. What's your favorite aspect of my work?
The YouTube videos on the famous people, or the infamous people.
Yeah.
Because whether they're narcissistic, normal, or empathic, it just brings the whole dynamic to life for the public. They can see people that they are familiar with or can relate to. They can see how this narcissistic dynamic plays out. So I think that really helps. It's interesting for me personally, but I think it's good for the general public as well to to see the dynamic in action.
Okay. And finally, John, what's your message to people listening?
Back to what is narcissism. I think, having been adversely affected by a narcissist, I now see your work as fundamental knowledge to everyone. It's as significant as learning maths and English. It's because it just affects your life going forwards as an adult, and I think it should be essential to be learned at school. From I'm not an academic, but from it should certainly be an option, if not essential, from I don't know, perhaps the age of 12, so that kids are equipped with the knowledge of the world they're about to embark on, and they can they can spot these individuals. So the message really is that prevention's better than a cure. Listen to your work, share your work with everyone that you know, if for the listeners out there, and educate yourself, because if there's someone in your life that's perhaps extremely sensitive to criticism, overcritical of others, seems superior and entitled, prone to angry outbursts, all the things that I saw before I realized what it was.
Yes.
Shouting a lot. I know this is just one element of the narcissist. It's not all narcissists are like this, but you do get that a lot. A lot of verbal abuse behind closed doors.
Indeed.
Physical abuse behind closed doors. If you know someone like that, then you have to pass on HG's work. And I would say the starting point is go back to that video, What is Narcissism?
Yeah.
That really is page 1 on the syllabus of if you like, of the topic, and listen to it twice, at least twice, because it won't sink in properly the first time for most people that aren't aware or familiar with this. And from that point on, you go down the rabbit hole, and you help other people identify what they may be dealing with. But of course, they have to use the expert. That's your narc detector.
Yeah.
On narcsite.com. So yeah, you use the video What is Narcissism by HG Tudor, and if we could put that in the video, that would probably help everybody.
Absolutely.
For me, that's page 1. That would be my advice.
I'll ensure that link's there. Well, John from Dorset, thank you very much for sharing your observations with me today. They're very, very useful. I'm sure many people find that they resonate with them.
Thanks for the opportunity, HG. You're a star. Appreciate it.
You're welcome.